This is the Gatekeepers Podcast with Billy Grove. Billy is an innovative leader in the industry who loves teaching others how to build quality fence. So kick back, grab a cold beverage, and get ready to talk about fence. Today's show is sponsored by Mr. Fence Academy, National Metal Industries, and J.C. Gurry. If you're looking to hit the next level in your fence company, check out Mr. Fence Academy. Real fencers, real job sites, real training equals real results. And now, live from the Mr. Fence Academy studios, here's your host, Billy Grove.
30-second countdown music. They changed it on me, y'all. I'm gonna have that fixed for y'all next week. Not a fan. What's up, Fence fam? What's up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of the audio versions, Apple Podcast, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all of the major platforms. If you're listening, guys, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys have all kicked ass since the last time we've talked or you have watched. Right now, we got Fence Tech going on, so I'm sure there's a whole lot of people at Fence Tech at the kickoff party having fun. I had to stay back just because I'm traveling a whole lot for the first half of the year, so I was going to wait and do all my traveling later on instead of start it now because I started in couple weeks. So there's that. But man, we got a bang up show tonight. We got Mr. Justen Meneses on the show, a staining guru. Like I said in the show notes, really raised the bar in the stain industry. Does some fantastic work at a fantastic speed. But before we get there, I got to give a quick shout out to my sponsors. First and foremost, Mr. Fence Academy. If you're looking for a level up in your fence game, go check out www.mrfenceacademy.com. Secondly, National Metal Industries. If you're looking for privacy slats, chain link material, vinyl, iron, aluminum, all that stuff, go hit up www.nmifence.com. Go see Mr. Mike Levy. If you make an order, ask like down there in the notes for him to send you one of his mailers. Really cool mailers, guys. And then last but not least, J.C. Gurry signs and decals. If you're on the fence about a sign, boom, you see what I did there? Look no further than J.C. Gurry. They get as much of the stuff as they can that is made in America. Other than that, they really hand make all of these signs, and you'll see that in the commercial. But if you're looking for a quality, top-notch fence sign, www.jcgurry.com. All right, guys. Like I said, we got a bang-up show tonight. Mr. Justen Meneses. We're going to switch the script. We're going to talk about fence staining tonight. And should you add it to your fence arsenal? Yes or no? Lots of people are on the fence, so to say, about it. So we're going to go ahead and bring on none other than Mr. Justen Meneses.
Hey, good evening. How's it going?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Just rushing home, getting cleaned up, eating some chow, drinking some water, and then getting ready to come on here. Excited to do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, same. I had to rush home, take a shower, and then rush back to the studio to get it all set back up. So trust me, I'm on that. How was the rest of your past 7 days?
Let's see. So past 7 days,
I lost you on audio.
Oh, is that any better? Can you hear me?
Unmute mic. I think they're.
Can you hear me at all?
I think the roadcasters might be canceling them out. No, sir, I cannot hear you.
Well, let me.
Is your microphone plugged all the way in?
Yep, should be in there. Can you hear me? Let me just try to unplug it.
No, I can see you talking. I can't hear you, though. There we go. All right, guys. Well, if you're not at FinTech, what have you been doing this past week, man? Have y'all been putting a whole bunch of fence in the ground? I know it's cold as hell. Like, Justin, can you hear me? Oh, no, you can't hear me, can you? All right, I'm going to go to settings real quick. I'm going to see what's going on.
Can you hear me at all?
All right. What about now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah. I just unplugged a roadcaster. I'll just use the laptop.
Oh, okay. That's why it switched. I gotcha. Well, man, how's everything in Nebraska?
So the snow is finally melting away.
Yeah.
We had probably no snow up until about a week and a half ago. And then winter decided to pop in for a week and a half. So weather, 6 to 8 inches of snow, but today was 62. And we're considering starting to stain again next week if Mother Nature continues to stay warm.
Nice. Yeah, man, we had that little weird cold snap last week, and it was really cold. It was really cold for Florida. It was super cold. More than that, it was windy as hell. Not just was it below 30 degrees, it was like 25, 30 mile an hour winds, and so it was cold outside like last week. But we had the same thing. It was up in the 70s on the weekends and like mid 60s during the week, and out of nowhere, just the entire week was just freezing. So I guess the groundhog said, you got 6 more weeks of winter. You're going to deal with it.
Yeah. Someone needs to get a shotgun and shoot that groundhog.
Man, I'm telling you, dude, like one of my favorite Facebook reel things to follow is like Marshall Patrick, I think his name is. And it's the guy who like wears all the different shirts that he makes. And it's like rain or snow or like the whole like Mother Nature thing, like winter, fall, spring, summer. Somebody needs to tell Father Winter he's done for the year. He can pack up and go home. I'm done with it. All right, man. So I got you on here to like talk about stain. I've been watching you for the past couple years on Facebook, on all the fence groups, and man, you really do some kick-ass work, and not just that, but you do it really fast. So,
well, yeah, I had Kenny on doing a podcast with me that we're going to release later on this week, and we were talking about there's been a lot of talk in the staining world about efficiency. How do you become more efficient, and how do you quicken the pace of things? And he and I touched on it a little bit, and we kind of came to a consensus that everybody wants that magic pill that's not out there. As fence builders, just like deck stainers and fence stainers, the more you do it, the more you pick up on techniques, methods, how to cut time out by, reducing your trips going back and forth to the truck. And that's one of the things that we kind of touched on was leaky bucket items that Tom Weaver talks a lot about on his show. And instead of thinking finances or expenses, look at leaky bucket items like cutting your trips that you're making when you're staining a fence or washing a fence, how often you're going back to the truck. So make use of your time to make it as efficient as possible. Time is money. Matt Warner taught me that a few years ago. So put value to your time. So for us, we've become more efficient through time and experience, making mistakes, learning from them, adding some different, touches, touch up here, touch up this, fix this. And so now we can typically hand stain 3 to 4 decks a day if we have 3 to 4 decks to do. And we just hand stain all our decks. If we're doing fences, typical fence here in Omaha runs about 185 linear feet. And if we're staining both sides, we could probably knock 3 or 4 of those out in the day.
Right. That's awesome. That is freaking flying, man. Like, I've had my fair share of staining, and I was still doing a lot of staining whenever I was first starting to follow you. And I was watching you do like 2 washes and a stain a day. I'm like, how is that possible, man? Like, but you get it done. You get it done professionally, and it looks beautiful afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it, so I didn't just start yesterday, right? I've been doing this full time this is year 11, and I started out doing deck staining and fence staining in 2002. Did it for a couple of years and then stopped doing it. Decided to go back to school, different career field, and then came back into it in 2014, and we started doing it full time. And like I said, the first year we did it, we would do a deck in a day. It would take 8 hours, and absolutely hated it. And then we were spraying all our decks and all our fences, and we were just like every other company in our market. Everybody wanted to spray it because it was faster. And then went to Joe Everest's event for Stain and Seal University, and he was breaking down knowing your numbers. And so I took the time in the off season. Our winters here can be 2 to 4 months long at times. And so in one of the off seasons, we started looking at our expenses when it came to plastic, tape, paper, cleaning chemicals, and then the time it would take to put up plastic and prepping and then taking it down and then just throwing it away because it was, once you use it once, it's trashed.
Right.
And so we realized after a season, we were spending tens of thousands of dollars on plastic. And that didn't include your man hours. And so we made a conscientious decision to not spray our decks and to make that our niche, that we don't spray our decks. We hand stain them, and we put the time and effort to get every nick and cranny of your deck to make sure it's stained and it's done properly.
That's awesome.
So we went from 1 a day to 2 a day. And now we typically start our day 7:30, and we're typically done by 4 o'clock, and we will do typically about 3 decks a day.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, not to backtrack, but like, what's your background? Like, I know, like, you're in the reserves, but like, what is your background besides this?
So in the National Guard, we don't mingle with the reserves very well.
My bad.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, same uniform. One of us does more of a stateside mission. Reserves does more of a federal mission. Background. So originally born and raised in Canada, Ontario, Canada, out of Toronto. Parents are from the Azores, which are some small mid-Atlantic islands off the coast of Europe. Off the coast of Portugal. And so I was, at one time, I snorkeled for a living, catching octopus, lobsters, limpets, crabs, fish, spear fishing. It was absolutely the greatest job I've ever had.
They signed me up, dude.
Yeah, I was like a beach bum, but in the water instead of on the beach.
Sign me up, dude. Sign me up.
Yeah, it was amazing. My brother still does it, and kind of jealous that he still does it, but I also enjoy deck staining and fence staining. So
right.
Good. Painted for over 10 years as a painter, and so that's a lot of my brushing skills come from the painting industry when it comes to efficiency, learning how to paint faster and with quality.
Right.
And I've got a bachelor's, a master's, or I guess I almost got a master's. I'm like a semester away from a master's. Done social work, was a postman at one time. And then I'm an MP or a military police dealing with investigations for the Army. And I'm a deck stainer. Father of 6 children, 5 boys, 1 girl, married going on 28 years, and love.
Love it, man. That was just like some awesome information, man. I freaking love it. Dude, your background is very, very, very colorful, but those colors are very bright. You have a vast, vast amount of worldly knowledge, so to speak, just by you saying all of that stuff. That is that's a very large spectrum of careers that you've had, and that's really cool that you found yourself, being a fence and deck stainer now. So that's awesome. I have a painting background as well, so that's how I kind of got into the stain game with the fences. I did one deck. I'm not going to lie to you. I won't ever do a deck again.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game. It's not even baseball anymore when it comes to decks and fences, and I learned that the hard way. And so I will continue only staining fences.
Yeah.
I'll stay in my lane on that.
Yeah, way better. I was talking to a gentleman today who's new in the staining business, and he posted a video kind of wanting to show off his work, and then the response he was getting is this a what not to do video? Because he just didn't know what he was doing. Yeah. And I reached out to him because he pulled down his post. He's frustrated, and I'm like, look, dude, you're new. Don't get frustrated. You're going to get folks who always see the negative, and they love to.
And it's the Zoom crew.
Yeah, they love to chew you down and bury you. But I told him, I was like, look, fences are cake. Once you know what you're doing, once you learn the prep, you learn the I guess the wisdom aspect of things. Is it too windy to spray? Is it not too windy to spray? Are we in a cookie cutter neighborhood? Do we use 417, 517 tip compared to a 1223 tip, which is what he was using? So I was telling him, I was like, it's your first job. We've all been where you're standing and where you're sitting, frustrated and feeling like we didn't do things right. Just learn. The more you get your hands dirtier, the more you'll gain experience and knowledge for the future.
Yeah, man. There's a and that kind of goes along with something that I tell my guys that I'm training. Like the best way to learn a good lesson, unfortunately, is to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So in my job title, it's a fine line that I walk from not letting them make mistakes to making them, or to letting them make mistakes, right? Because sometimes I gotta let $2 get wasted, or like $1.50 get wasted because they need to learn that mistake. Now, if it's too big, of course I'm going to stop it. But that's the fine line that I walk, and it's hard for me sometimes. It's hard to scale back and be like, no, don't do that. but it happens, and you learn really quickly. Like, that's why you don't do that. But in the stain world, there's a lot more that you can mess up. It's a lot more expensive than in the fence world. Like in the fence world, we're talking about, we might hit a unmarked utility line or something like that, or someone, you might not do the dirt work correctly or something like that. But in the stain world, man, you make a mistake, it's a pretty big mistake. So that leads us to our topic, and the topic is, should fence company owners who primarily build fence be not just heavily thinking, but going into just the staining realm of things?
So besides being a stainer myself, obviously I'm going to say yes.
Right.
But stepping aside, there's a few fence building companies here in the Omaha market that I work with that I stain, not for them, but I'm their preferred stainer that they refer to their customers.
Right.
And Chris Hearn from Done Right Fence, for an example, is a great example. He reached out to me. He had tried to stain a couple of fences, did not like the product that he had available to him at the big box store. He didn't like the risk of overspray, stain getting where it's not supposed to be. And so he stopped offering it, but then his customers would ask about it, like, hey, now that I've spent this large amount of money to build this fence, it looks beautiful. How do I keep it looking beautiful and not graying, rotting, and deteriorating where I'm having to have you come back out in X amount of years?
Right.
And so he and I became mutual friends. We started talking, and he's like, why do you like to stain fences, and what makes you feel confident that you're not going to make all these mistakes that I've made? And so if you're looking to get into it, there's a handful of things that you can do to protect yourself. I talked about earlier wind. If you ever see those, the cable lines, the little landscaping flags that they'll put on there when they're installing the irrigation lines, snag one of those little puppies up. They're one of your best tools that you can have. If you're going to a job site, you put it up. If the wind's blowing that little plastic flag, then you should be conscientious that, hey, there's some wind. It's going to take that stain that's in the air, and it's either going to blow it north, east, south, or west. And you got to determine if it's too windy or not. The other thing is preparation work. For a fence builder, you guys need to figure out utility lines, where your electricity cable, all those different things, where property lines are, and things like that. For deck or for fence stainers, plastic is our biggest friend. So if you plastic a house and you think 4 foot is enough, I would go 8. Better safe than sorry.
Yep.
So doing precautionary things, putting up plastic, knowing your wind, knowing if it's going to rain, how hot it is outside. If it's 110 degrees, your stain's going to dry real quick, and you're going to have some flash drying compared to if it's 75 degrees.
Right.
So there's some things that you can do. And then as far as for if you should do it, I mean, it's an add-on, a sell, it's an upgrade you could sell. If you don't like the staining with a spray gun or hand staining it, if you want to go that route, there's pre-stained lumber that you can do where you buy a stain machine, either from Stainmatic, I think, sells them. Expert Stain and Seal sells a stain machine.
Yep.
There's a lot of different ways that you can avoid the spraying and overspray issue and do it in-house, I guess. And like I said, I think it's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been down both routes. I've done like staining afterwards, and I've also done pre-staining. We built our own dunk tank. That was like it was 20 foot long, so that way we could dunk 16-foot boards, but it was 20 foot long, built on a slope. Had the corrugated metal so it could drain back in and all that stuff. I got to be honest with you. I think my preferred method is spraying it on afterwards. I like the concept of the like pre-stain and to take all of the liability out of it. But coming from somebody who only uses pressure treated pine, because that is what our market is. Okay. 98% of our market is pressure treated pine. All right. So that's what it is. So I don't want to hear anything about, I know it's crap. Okay. But that's what our market is. So we give them what they want. But using the pressure treated pine and pre-staining it, unless you are pre-staining it and hanging that board, you have to band that stuff up so many times, because it will twist and warp and bow and do everything that it's not supposed to do. And what I found out is because it's getting wet so fast and it's drying out so extremely fast because it's Florida. It's 100 degrees outside, right? For almost half the year, it's basically like 100 degrees out here. So that was an issue for us. And it didn't matter what brand of stain it was. I'm just talking about the process of it. So my preferred method, if I'm going to go do it, is to stain it after it's installed. But I'm also extremely comfortable with a paint sprayer. I used one for 6 years painting apartments. So, I'm extremely comfortable with all that stuff. But talk us through if, say, for instance, a fence company owner was thinking about adding this. What is the right way that you would see to go about training new employees, training not just new like team members who are going to be doing the staining, but the people who are selling it, answering the phones, blase, blase?
Superior Fence and Rail, I think is what they call them here in Omaha. They came and shadowed me for 3 or 4 different fences that we did. And it was their fences that they had referred us to. And they were looking at potentially hiring their own stainer. And I don't care. I'll train. Yeah, you're going to stain instead of me, but I don't care because we don't do enough fences that it bothers me. And I'm one of those people that I rather train the next guy and have him do it correctly than have to go fix his mistakes and make my life harder.
It just really raises the bar in your local market, if I'm being honest. I mean, that's how I look at it whenever I'm training local fence companies. I mean, let's not let's be real here. Like, I'm literally training the people who are competing against me in fence bids. Not me, but like my company. But and so I just put it to the mindset of we're raising the bar in the local market. People see this stuff and they'll stop hiring. I hate to say chucking a trucks because most of us started there, but they'll stop hiring these fly-by-night guys. There we go. Fly-by-night guys. And they'll start equating quality with it's going to cost a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, and I see staining potentially becoming a professional service in the mindsets. Right. That's what I want my customers to see it as. We're professional wood restoration. We're a professional wood restoration company, not a painter, not a stainer. We take pride in what we do. And so if I can help Chuck in a truck become an actual professional instead of Chuck in the truck, it increases my market because the standard is being elevated every year because we're no longer Chuck in the trucks, but we are professional wood restoration companies. So as far as training and staining, I think if you have a salesman, so there was one of the guys who works for Superior, he was just going to be a sales guy. And I told Stephanie, I don't care if he's going to sell, if he's going to wash, if he's going to stain, he needs to come and see what the work is like. He needs to get his hands dirty. He needs to get stain on him. Exactly. He needs to see how hot it gets, how cold it gets. He needs to feel the oily finished look when you get done. If you're staining semi-solid black, and you come back
black head to toe.
Yep, you come back and it's like you have blackface on, and hopefully you wore a respirator, so you pull up the respirator and you can see like you look like you have blackface. And she's like, well, he's not going to be doing that. He's going to be selling. Well, he needs to understand the good and the bad of it, not just the protection and the quality and what we're improving, but he needs to understand what that stainer or that laborer is going to be doing. He needs to understand the cost of materials. He needs to understand the cost of labor, the hardships that go into it, so that when he's selling it, he's not just thinking, bing, 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 commissions. I can sell this for $1,000, not realizing he should be selling it for $1,700 because he'll take, I guess, put more value into what's going on instead of just trying to sell things.
Right. Basically, he'll be able to sell the process because he knows the process.
Yes. Yep. And he knows the good and bad, right? He's had to go home and clean himself off and realize that whatever outfit he wore, and most sales guys, no offense intended, but they'll show up in khakis and they'll have a nice pair of shoes on and they're wearing the nice polo. And then after they're done staining for the day, the khakis are ruined, the polo's ruined, and the shoes are probably ruined. So they'll kind of gain a respect for the work and the process, not just the selling aspect of it.
Right. What are your thoughts on, I don't know if they're going to be doing a live staining university anymore, but like going to like a hands-on like training event?
So we touched on this yesterday. So this year, the staining university is going to be virtual that Caleb is running. I know Wood Defender, Everett Abrams, there are other companies that do hands-on training. I like the virtual aspect of it because the last 3 or 4 events that I've gone to, what I've noticed is, and I've talked to other presenters and people who help out with the events, is that you'll have 100 people show up and 10 people will actually either have the courage or they really came there to experience the hands-on training. The other 90 who are there are either owners, they're sales guys who came maybe for the sale aspect of it, and very few who are there are actually going to be the hands-on washing, spraying gentlemen or gentlewomen. So if you're going there as an owner and you have a crew back home, bring your crew. Like invest that money to bring your crew out to learn, to get the experience, to put the gun in their hand and see what a 1223 tip feels like and how much spray is actually coming out of there.
Right.
So if you're going there for that aspect, it's a great event to go to. The hands-on training is great. If you're going there as an owner and you have a crew back home and you're not bringing your crew because you don't want the expense or anything, find a way to get some training for your crew so that they can experience it before getting out to a customer's home and potentially making those mistakes and then feeling like, oh crap, we're never doing this again.
Right, man. And that happens, man. It really does.
Yeah.
So what is I know what it is, but like what is your preferred stain brand and how long you been working with it?
Okay. So as of right now, our preferred stain brand is Expert Stain and Seal. We use it. We've been using it for maybe 6 years now, 6 or 7. And we like it because it doesn't have a bunch of solvents in it. Doesn't have all the mineral spirits, all the harsh chemicals. It is an oil stain. It does have pigment, does have the sealant in it. It absorbs into the wood. You talked about the twisting, the warping that will happen with pressure treated pine. When you talked about pressure treated pine, I was like, yeah, pre-staining is probably not a great idea.
Not a good idea.
Just drying that pressure treated pine is a hassle. And
not unless you're going to use one of those stain track machines or the like stain and seal machine and like literally run it through there and nail it up as soon as you're done running it through there. That would be the only way that I would ever do pre-staining ever again.
So we like Expert Stain and Seal. It does what they say it's supposed to do. We've had great results with it. Yesterday when I was talking to Kenny, we were talking about the different stains that we've used. I mean, I've tried TWP, I've tried Wood Defender, I've tried Ready Seal, Sherwin-Williams Super Deck when it was called Duckback. I've tried Olympic, Valspar, Bear, Habit. Last year, I think we used 8 different stain companies because the customer, that's what they wanted, right? Kind of like you mentioned, hey, our market is pressure treated pine. That's what our customers want. And we do get customers who, regardless of what we sell them in our pitch, they'll want Cabot Australian oil because they read something that says it's an amazing stain and that's what they want. and we give it to them. I'm not going to say no to a customer. I will inform them to the best of my ability without sounding like I'm a know-it-all and they're idiots, but I'll educate them. And if they still want to use the product of their choice, we'll put it on. We just don't warranty any other product. We warranty our work. We give them a 1-year warranty on our labor and our application. But besides that, if it fails, starts to chip, peel, and flake, we go back and I was like, sorry, I did kind of warn you about this potentially happening, and here it is. It's happening. This is not a labor. It's not an application problem. It's a product problem.
Right.
So, and we can stand by our warranty. We can stand by what we tell our customers. In our market, we get about two years on average for treatments when it comes to decks, and when it comes to fences, anywhere between 3 to 5 years.
Nice.
So, yeah. So if I tell you you're looking at 3 to 5 years, and you're a year 4.5, and it looks like it needs to be redone, it fit within that window, and you don't think I was just blowing smoke up your butt.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna jump to some comments real quick because I completely forgot about that. We got JC Gurry and Signs says, "Hey Billy, we're heading to Fence Tech welcome party. We say hey, hey, Mark and Mary, have fun, have a lot of fun." Robert Evers in the house. Two Smooth Operators podcast. What's going on, buddy? Looking forward to seeing you at the Mr. Fence Academy retreat. Oh, what up, homie? We got Chris Steele in the my house. He says, "What up, fam?" And then he was talking about your spearfishing. He says, "Hell of a career change."
Yeah, I still kick myself in the ass.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you could sign me up and send me away for that.
Yeah.
I would die and be reborn in heaven instantly.
Yeah. It's not the most family friendly career path, because
doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, we are on an 8 by 13 mile island out in the middle of the Atlantic. So every time a hurricane came up, whether it hit Florida or didn't, we were going to get touched by it one way or another.
Right.
So our winters, we could go snorkeling maybe once a month, twice a month. Ooh. And then if you're trying to raise a family on two trips to the ocean, it's not going to end up very well. So
true that.
But it's still a hell of a time.
True that, man. But I mean, I bet the spring, summer, and fall was fun though.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it was a feast and famine kind of thing. Spring, summer, you lived like you were top dog. But then wintertime came, and you're like, all right, 3 notches on that belt because we haven't eaten in days.
All right, well, I won't take that then.
Yeah.
All right, we got Mr. Jordan Murray says, "What's up, Billy? Been learning a lot from Justen stuff lately, man. Good to hear it, man. I'm glad you're doing well. Been following you on social media as well, dude. You've been kicking ass, taking names. So keep doing your thing, man." All right. So that is the end of the comments. If anybody else who is watching and wants to drop a comment below. Tell us that you're watching. If you have a question, go ahead and ask a question because I will get to those periodically. All right, so we're gonna move on, and all right, here we go. So, what in your mind separates a high quality stain job from a not high quality stain job?
Oh, I would probably say detail.
Okay. So if we're talking about fences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you go to a fence, well, I'll just share an experience that I've had with it. That company A, company B bid the same job. Company A gets the job because they were $800 cheaper.
Right.
And after company A goes out there and does the work, they maybe are using a lesser of a product. Maybe they went to Home Depot and they bought Bear on sale. $40 a gallon, $36 a gallon, whatever it might be. and they applied it on there, and they told the customer it was going to be oil, and it was not going to peel, not going to chip, not going to flake. So very similar sale pitches, but an inferior product. And then when they went out there, because they're underbidding the price of what they should be charging, they're not spending maybe the amount of, or they're not applying the amount of stain that is necessary to provide a quality finished product. And so you may have discolored looking boards, checkered looking things. The stain may not be self-leveling. It may be just a surface laying stain. So as it's drying, you may see the streaks, the run marks on it, the uneven look to it. With compared to a quality job where someone is putting the right amount of product on there, it looks uniform across the board. You're not seeing the streaks, you're not seeing the run marks, and quality over non-quality is a product has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
As well as the workmanship. You know, fence builders know this. You have folks who go in there and they don't bother to check to make sure that when they're nailing in those nails that it's actually hitting the 2x4. Right. It's not just hitting it on an angle and coming up. So it's very similar, you know, different industries, but very similar outcomes.
Right. Yeah, man. You know, I did my fair share in staining and washing whenever I was on my own. And, you know, I'm very good at it, but I just was never fast. Right. Like it was always I'd put one here and there to kind of give myself a break from all the hard labor. Right. So that's like kind of how I did it. But I was never very fast at it. But I always made sure to use, and I'm not sponsored by them whatsoever, but I always made sure to use Expert Stain and Seal. I had used a lot of products before being a painter and just not knowing the stain world, because there's a major difference, right? So I was just like, okay, well, this is the most expensive stain at Home Depot or Lowe's. Like, this has got to be good stuff right here. It's got to be good stuff, you know. And as a painter, it's probably really good stuff. Or if you like shop at like Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams, for instance, or your local paint house, you know, you would just be like, okay, well, give me the most expensive stuff. But when I really dove deep into it and I really paid attention to the like staining university that I went to, and you know, something that really stuck with me that I always tell my clients who are kind of on the board of like, do I want a solid or do I want like an oil base? And I'm like, look, you just paid us, our average job is around $9,000 to $10,000. So you just paid us around $10,000. Okay. You're about to trap moisture into your wood. Like if you put that solid on it. And then I'm like, okay, so look, this stuff lives on the wood, right? It lives on it. The stain we use lives inside of the wood. And that right there gets people to get that light bulb that goes off. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's not going to actually chip or flake or, you know, look like shit in 3 years after the Florida sun has beat it to death. But it was one of the most user-friendly products that I've ever actually laid my hands on. I remember very vividly my first time walking in, and I walked in, and this was my first like ever like fence convention or like anything, right? So I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect, all this stuff. I walk in, I walk straight to the little food table, get some chips, and Cody Bly walks up to me. And I have no idea who he is, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. This long-haired dude, he looks cool, man. Like, hell yeah, bro. So he walks up to me, he's like, hey man, like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm Cody, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, went straight to it. He was like, so what's your most hated thing about staining fences? And I said, if I'm gonna be honest with you, masking and plasticking latches and hinges. And he was like, okay, fair. Well, what if I told you that if you used our product, you would not have to use masking tape and plastic on hinges? And I said, you're lying to me.
Yeah.
I was like, you're absolutely lying to me. And he was like, no, come outside. I'll show you. He brought me outside. He sprayed over a like hinge and he wiped it right off. And I was like, you don't have to show me anything else. I don't even have to even listen to all of the presentation. I am so I was like, but I mean, I ended up like staying and really taking a lot away from that very first conference that I went to. And I say all that to say this, guys, go get, whether it's Wood Defender, Expert Stain and Seal, whether use a oil-based product on your wood. Okay. Unless, like Justin said, if you just run into that customer who's like, I have to have bourbon brown or, you know, such and such color from such and such manufacturer. Okay, fine. We'll do it, but I'm not going to like give you a warranty. Right. Like, so that's how I see it. We're going to hit a commercial real fast because we are on there. Then we'll come back and I got one more question for you. It's going to be a good one. And then we'll get to closing thoughts after that. All right.
Yep.
National Metal Industries, a family-owned business for 70-plus years, has grown to be recognized for their ability to deliver on not just privacy slats for fence, but all types of fence products. National Metal Industries has all the hardware and tools to get the fence professional in and out of their job with the most ease possible. You can count on National Metal Industries for the most convenient resources in fence products. Visit nmifence.com for more information. As we like to say, you can always pick it right at National. J.C. Gurry Signs and Decals has been a trusted name in the sign industry since 1949, with all manufacturing done in-house from start to finish right here in the USA. With 75 years in outdoor signage and roots dating back to the 1920s, J.C. Gurry specializes in durable, high-quality signs and decals. In-house screen printing since the 1970s ensures every product meets the highest standards. Visit jcgurry.com for more information. Every aluminum sign includes Mylar lamination at no extra cost, extending product life in tough outdoor conditions. For unmatched quality and longevity, visit jcgurry.com.
All right, guys, we're back real quick. I got to give another shout out to the sponsors. Guys, if you're looking to up your fence business game, not just your fence business game, but your fence installation game on the, you know, like boots on the ground, Mr. Fence Academy, go check it out. Check out my shirt. www.mrfenceacademy.com. Go look it up. If you're at Fence Tech right now, stop by the booth, go register. You get yourself $100 in free credit for Mr. Fence tools, also for other things that I cannot remember right now. Then we got like National Metal Industries, guys. If you're in the market for privacy slats, make sure to go check out National Metal Industries. They also have chain link, vinyl, iron, like aluminum, and fence tools. After you place your order, make sure to put in the notes for Mr. Mike Levy to send you a mailer, because Mike Levy's mailers are awesome, man. They're freaking great. Great concept. And then last but not least, J.C. Gurry. Guys, if you're on the fence on a fence sign, look no further. J.C. Gurry, like you just saw, all of the fences are my fence signs are thought out, handmade in the factory right here in the USA. The best quality on the market. www.jcgurry.com. Whew. All right, man. So here is my favorite question of the night. Lots of guys talk about overspray. All right. How are you combating that issue besides the wind?
So you mentioned earlier the fact that you could wipe down Expert Stain and Seal because it's an oil stain. I just wanted a quick add on to that. A lot of companies will say they have oil in it, and it is important to look at the SDS sheet the safety data sheet, and find out how much oil is in that product and how much filler is in that product.
Right.
As Cody had told you, you can wipe it down. So one of the things I love about Expert Stain and Seal is if I do get some overspray, because we all deal with a gust of wind, the angle that we're spraying the top of. So having a pump up sprayer or an applicator device on hand with water, dish soap, and a good degreaser will reduce your harm of having overspray, because it is an oil stain. And if you get to it quickly, you could spray some of that. We call it cleanup. Caleb calls it cleanup. We make our own version of cleanup in-house. And like I said, water, dish soap, and orange Zeps degreaser or whatever kind of degreaser you're using. Spray it on there, get the water hose, and that overspray is gone. Wipe it down. If it's on a vehicle, siding, whatever it might be, it will clean up immediately. If you let it sit there, you mentioned Florida gets hot. If you let it sit there for too long, it'll eventually dry, and now you're going to have to put some elbow grease. But oil stains are very user-friendly, and when you do make a mistake, the cleanup process is also user-friendly. Avoiding overspray, prepping, putting plastic up if you're getting close to the house. If you're concerned about potentially getting stain on the house, some folks will stain 2 to 3 boards away from where the house is with the sprayer, and then they'll stop and hand stain to 2 or 3 boards to avoid getting too close to the home. Another tip that we encourage folks to follow is angle spraying. So if you've got the top of your fence board, I'll pretend my finger's the top of the fence board. You angle it so you're not spraying it into the air like a lot of folks will do, and so you're getting 3 to 4, 6 inches, 8 inches of spray just going into the air. Instead, you're angling. I'm 6'3", so when I reach up with my hand, I'm going to get over the top of the fence.
Right.
So angling down and spraying down onto the top of your fence board, and then doing a second sweep so you get 3 to 4 inches down that board. So when you're coming up, you're not coming up past the fence picket. You're coming up to where you sprayed on that second sweep on an angle. That avoids the stain getting into the atmosphere or into the air. Then you're not worried about those driplets, those particles flying away with the wind and getting where they're not supposed to. What's another technique? Just tip size. As a painter, as a stainer, there's anywhere from your green tips for Greco machines, where they're like a fine finish spray tip, compared to 23, which puts out. So the first number on that. Yeah, so the first number on that tip, for an example, is your orifice size, which will be your fan size. So if you're getting a 213 tip, you're going to have a 4-inch fan spray. Now, 4 inch is easy to control, but it's going to take you longer to apply stain onto a fence.
Right.
If you're using what a lot of folks like to use, because it's fast and it puts out a lot of product, is a 1223. Well, that 12 means it's going to be 24 inches in fan. And so if you imagine spraying up, you got 24 inches going up, and you're going to put out a lot more product. Yep. So knowing your tip size for where you're spraying is crucial too, because that will cut down the risk of your overspray. We personally use the low pressure yellow tips.
Okay.
They're a little more expensive than the blue and obviously than the black tips, but they do reduce your overspray potential because it's a low pressure. So you're not having to turn up your machine to spray out the same amount of product. You could actually turn down the pressure with those yellow tips, and you're putting out the same amount of product just at a lower pressure.
Okay, that makes sense. So it doesn't atomize as much.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
So technique of application minimizes your. Some folks they want to go up and down and spray it on there and get it on as fast as possible. if you get into the habit of that angle spraying, you'll find yourself not having to go above the picket. So you're minimizing, like you mentioned, the atomizing of the particles that are getting into the air.
Right. Makes perfect sense, man. So I would always tell new guys, when you're doing the back side of the fence or the rail side, follow the grain on the 2x4s with it angled downwards, and then go up and down in between those patterns, just like you're saying. So, guys, that is the way to do it. It cuts off so much of the, oh my God, am I going to get overspray everywhere? You might get it a little bit here and there, but if you're shooting towards the ground, it's going to fall towards the ground, right?
Yes.
Like if you're shooting in the air, it's going to catch the wind and it's going to go. But
and some folks will question the efficiency because it's, they want to just go up and down, and they think it's faster. My reasoning for not going up and down is you might get it done faster than I'm going to by spraying it down and doing 2 swipes. But when I get done and you get done, you're walking and searching for overspray. Right. Whereas as I'm taking down my plastic, I can minimize how much time I'm now spending. And then if you get overspray, who knows how long you're going to be there. So I don't ever spray a fence, wrap up and get out. I'll do a walkthrough to make sure I won't inform the customer that I'm looking for overspray, but as I take down plastic, I'm looking, and as I'm walking back to the truck with that load of plastic, an empty can or whatever it is, and now I'm coming up the side of the driveway, not walking on the driveway, but looking. And as I'm going by, if there's a vehicle, I'm looking for that speckled look or that shiny look on the vehicle.
Yep.
And if I do find it, hey, Mrs. and Mr. Jones, whatever, we're just going to give your car a quick cleanup. There may be some overspray. And then we also partner with a local car wash where we buy 30 or 40 car washes in a booklet or in a bundle. They give us a good deal. And then if we are worried about a potential overspray or problem, or if a customer's giving us those, that feeling of they're worried about it, here's a courtesy car wash just in case to put your mind at ease. With that oil stain, and with that oil stain, that car wash will clean anything that might be on there if it is on there.
Right.
So just put your mind at ease.
I love it. All right, buddy. Well, we are coming up on time. Man, 58 minutes has flown by. I mean, it's really flown by. I mean, I guess that's what it says. I mean, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
But been a great conversation with you, man. You got any closing thoughts for like the viewers and the audio listeners?
Yeah, if you're thinking about staining and you're worried and you have questions or you've got some ideas you want to bounce off, you ever want to reach out, I'm more than happy to answer any questions or put your mind at ease about staining. It's not rocket science. It just jump in, try it, make some mistakes, fix your mistakes and learn from them, and keep rolling on.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, hey, man, thank you for everything that you do for the fence and the staining world. Thank you for everything that you do for the country. Thank you for your service, sir. I look forward to meeting you. You going to any events this year?
I'm going up to Canada actually next month to Fence Armor. They're holding a Stain and Seal University Canada event. So I'll be up there March 25th through the 28th.
I will not be there.
No, you're not going to miss out. I was talking to a couple of folks up there, and they're like, "Yeah, we've got like 2 feet of snow on the ground." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'll hope it's gone by the time I get up there."
Yeah, who knows, right? It's Canada.
Yeah, I'd rather be in Florida.
Yeah. Well, if I'll be at the retreat, I'll be in South Bend, Indiana, Houston, Las Vegas. So get to the fence show, man. That's gonna be a good time this year. Like I said, looking forward to meeting you. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right, man. Woo! Guys, absolute banger, man. Absolute banger. Like we've been talking about, guys, if you're on the fence about getting into fence staining, look no further, guys. If you need some questions, you need a little bit of guidance, go look up Mr. Justen Meneses. Does great things for the staining community, does great things for like humanity. But without further ado, man, we're gonna let the outro roll. I'll see y'all next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. I will try to be on time. I will be on time. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Tuesday night. Go kick some ass, put some fence in the ground, and collect some checks.